Okay, so this revision video is on Jesus' birth / Christmas. So, one of the first questions you could be asked on Jesus' birth is to describe the event. Now, remember, there are lots of different points that you can make about this, but these are just some of the 4 key ones. First of all, is the fact that it takes place in Bethlehem. The reason why Joseph and Mary went to Bethlehem was because there was a census ordered by Caesar Augustus. Now, when they got there, all the hotels, all the inns were full, so they ended up staying in a stable. Now, if you were asked a question that displays an image where it depicts the Magi, then you talk about Matthew's Gospel. However, you could be asked about Luke's Gospel, and there could be an image of the shepherds displayed. If that's the case, then you've got to make sure you know the distinction. M and Luke, I always think Luke and lamb shepherds. Now, if you don't get an image, then just remember that you can't speak about both of them. The final thing is, just make sure you include the fact that Jesus is born and then placed in a manger. Now, obviously you know all the details about it. You're going to be talking about the gifts that the Magi bring and the fact that the shepherds attend to. Now, the next question, as always, is looking at why it's important. Well, one of the first reasons is the fact that it shows that God, or Jesus, was for everyone. How do we know this? Well, we've got the Magi, who are the top of society, and the shepherds, who were at the bottom. Alright, it just shows us, reminds us that Jesus was born to save everyone, not just the select few. The next one is that it shows that God was all-powerful and all-loving. Why was he all-powerful? Because Jesus was born through the virgin birth. And why is he all-loving? Because when Jesus was sent, God knew that Jesus was there to die for us. He sent his only son for us to die, so that we could be saved. Now, you could also be asked this an evaluation question. If that comes up, we need to know possibly why Jesus' birth isn't important. Well, unfortunately, there's no counter-argument to this. Jesus' birth is important. So the arguments to this are, what events maybe in Jesus' life are more important? Now, Jesus' death was more important. You could say about the fact it more clearly shows that how much Jesus or God loves us. You could speak about the fact it allowed atonement to take place. And all of these ideas are in the video for Jesus' death also. The next one is, you can talk about the fact that Jesus' resurrection was more important. It gives us hope of an afterlife. It shows God's omnipotence. Now, as with always, we always get asked how it's relevant in today's society. And as a result of this, we could be asked to describe or explain how Catholics celebrate Advent, the period leading up to Christmas. Now, remember purple. The reason why we say purple is because in Mass, the priest wears purple vestments. But also we've got the 3 purple candles on the Advent wreath, reminding us it's a time we prepare for Jesus' birth, Jesus, the light of the world, coming. That is what the pink candle is there to represent as well, the forthcoming joy. Then, remember, in Mass, there is no Gloria sung. It's not a time of celebration. Okay, it's a time of preparation. And once again, that idea of preparation comes through reconciliation. Reconciliation helps us to repair our relationship with God at this key time of year. Sin is what stops us having that relationship with God. Reconciliation washes that away. And the final sort of ideas you can mention about the fact that there's an Advent calendar counting down to the birth of Jesus. You've got the decoration of Jesse trees, and at this key time of year that Catholics will take on charitable work so they can carry out God's work. Like I said, this key time of the liturgical year. Also, they exchange cards. Not cards with Santa and reindeers or Rudolph on, but ones that's got the nativity displayed. And as a result, this allows the message of Jesus, Jesus' birth, to be spread. Now, you could be asked why Advent is important. Well, very simple and straightforward. Number 1 is a time for preparation for the birth of Jesus, and the second one is a time to renew our relationship with God. Well, just to pick these apart quickly, okay? Time of preparation, it is a key time of the year. Jesus is born. Well, we've got to make sure that we are fully prepared for that, and the symbols of the purple as a sign of penance, and the decoration of the Jesse tree linking Jesus' birth with the fulfillment of all the Old Testament is a reminder of the fact that we need to be ready. Also, the fact that we're renewing our relationship with God. Well, sin stops us having that relationship. We need to make sure that that relationship is rebuilt. Sin is washed away through reconciliation. And then you've got CAFOD, the work of CAFOD. We can support these types of charities this time of year as they are carrying out the work of God to those who are most needy at this very important time. Now, we've got to be asked why Advent is not important. And if that is the case, then it's quite simple, straightforward. It's a countdown to Christmas and not Jesus' birth. People are less concerned about the fact that this is the time where Jesus was born for us. Instead, it's just Christmas. And that is symbolised by the fact that so many people, almost the whole of the UK, celebrate Christmas, but only less than 50% of them actually attend Mass this time of year. The next one is that it's Christmas is what is important and not the time of preparation. So, if we just compare this to sort of our own lives and the examination, as much as you might be revising now and feel prepared, unless you're able to back that up in the exam, it doesn't mean anything because it's the examination that counts, not always just the preparation. So, it's a very similar idea when it comes to Christmas. This is the key event. Now, speaking of Christmas, getting on to it more explicitly, describe and explain how Catholics celebrate Christmas. Now, some of these ideas are similar to what you'll see in Advent, but just need to remember the difference between preparation and now celebration. So, when we're talking about the preparation part, we can still mention about the Jesse tree, okay? But it's important to make sure that we focus on specifically Christmas examples as well. So, cribs being displayed and decorated, and carols are sung. Not jingle bells, okay, but the carols that actually spread the true meaning of Christmas. Now, before where the Gloria wasn't sung, it now is. It is now a time for celebration. So, the Gloria is sung in Mass. No longer is the priest wearing his purple vestments, but he's wearing white and gold as a symbol for celebration. Now, the other one is the fact that presents are exchanged and cards as well. Now, when we're talking about the presents, yes, it's a celebration. We do this with our friends and family, but also we can think of those presents being linked to what we contribute, what we give to charity, particularly CAFA, this time of the year, so that those who are poor and needy are supported at this time. And when it comes to the cards, again, these cards display the nativity, the true meaning of Christmas. We have a responsibility as Catholics to spread that in our secular world, in our secular society. So that is why cards being exchanged is a big area of focus for this answer. Now, we've also got the question to explain why Christmas is important, and once again, very straightforward. Fingers crossed this one comes up on the exam, because this is my top tip to you. You just focus on why Jesus' birth was important, but you ensure that you use this statement to start. Christmas reminds Catholics of the omnipotence of God, of the omnibenevolence of God, the fact that Jesus was born for everyone. Just remember to say, Christmas reminds Catholics of this. Or, another idea, you may also wish to focus on the fact that it brings Catholics together, alright, and how more people attend Mass at Christmas time than any time of year. But if you do that, just make sure that you are focusing on religious elements, that it's not just the same as what non-religious people do as well. Otherwise you won't gain the full marks. Final thing is, you could be asked why Christmas is not important or a religious festival. And this comes up as an evaluation question, alright? So, all about exchanging presents, alright? As I said, many non-religious people, almost all non-religious people, celebrate Christmas. Therefore, it suggests that it might be more to do with exchanging presents rather than attending Mass, etc. And that is what links us with the second point as well, is the fact that Christmas has become too commercialised and materialistic, displayed as the image of mince pies being sold in September that is taken from Tesco's Twitter feed. Okay? Now, that concludes Jesus' birth. Next video focuses on Jesus' baptism.